Marjot and I are sleeping through another night. Both of us feeling pretty good. She was a little crabby for being wet, but otherwise everything was alright. When I got up, I started making more meals. We were going to hit the road as soon as we could here, and some more meals certainly wouldn't hurt. She was running around. She decided we need more animals. We had too much stuff to haul, so she was going to work on getting some of them tamed up, and I supported the idea. Plus we could butcher them later if we needed some food, desperate times. So she tamed Muffalo. I made meals. She was having pretty good success. Unfortunately, there were lots of Muffalo around. She could keep trying out her skills. I kept right on cooking. We had a bunch of meat, veggies, fruit laying around. I made a bunch of fruit drinks as well. Debated on whether that was such a good play. She tamed 3 and kept working on the rest. Then she got a 4th. I was still harvesting things I could find around. Muffalo kept coming on inside, going to the animal area. She came in for a meal once in a while. I did some cleaning, hung out, had a meal. And eventually, night was upon us. I was making fruit drinks still. Seemed like those would be good. Nice little variety in our day. There's still a ton of things on the map. Right around the base here, I harvest up, bring on inside. She was helping with the hauling. And of course we had to run through the water, which made us both a little crabby. And that was all we had to complain about. And we'd dry up before too long. Marjot came to bed as well. She was a little buzzy from the beer, so we had some fun that night. There was some ambrosia nearby. We thought we'd take that. We could eat it, we could sell it. So I harvested that up. She was still working with the Muffalo. Didn't have as much luck today as she had had the day before. She came in and had herself a beer and chilled out for a while. And with that, we decided it was time to get on out of here. Packed up everything we could. Headed on our way. We had tons of stuff. We filled up all these animals. There's no room left for anything. And we started gathering. Started packing the animals. We were going to take the plasteel. We'd need that for building the ship, along with everything else. And when everything was finally packed up, it was about 2 a.m. We hit the road. Said goodbye to that old place once and for all. It was going to be a long trip. Maybe we'd stop along the way. We debated going to a city or just stopping at a village. Too many options. We didn't want to get caught up in a gun battle anywhere, that's for sure. So we kept right on walking. The sun was coming up, the sun was going down. We were out in the desert, which was nice. It was quiet. Not a lot of things around. And we had a pretty peaceful walk for the most part. Desert's a weird place. Considered settling there. But we may need to grow some food. The desert's not good at that. We took the road for the most part. Decided to cut across it. We got a little further to the west. There were solar flares and eclipses while we were walking. Didn't really bug us too much though. Eventually we hit the spot where we broke off from the main highway. There was an abandoned city to the south. We met some traders in the desert. Must have been taking the same path we were. Decided to sell that old spear rifle we had. It's too slow to fire, although the range was amazing. We bought some medicine as well. Called it good and kept on going. It was a long hike, that's for sure. We had a whole slew of animals with us slowing us down. There was an item stash nearby we got wind of. We decided why not. We'd head on over. All the fruit we'd taken with us had gone rotten. The buffalo started getting sick from it. So we tossed all that stuff by the wayside. Couldn't have sick animals on the road. Talk about a mess. Well, eventually we made it over to the item stash. There didn't seem to be anything around. So we told the animals to stay where they were. And we went off to investigate. Wasn't a lot of food for the animals, sadly. And when we got close, some Arctic foxes jumped right up out of the sand. Must have been buried, the little bastards. And they were fast. They were mean, man. Probably rabbit or something. They got a hold of us both. Started biting and scratching, doing us all kinds of harm. Marjot was able to drop hers by beating it with her charge rifle. Then she started trying to help me out by shooting them. They were all over me, man. It's a good thing I had this armor on. Even when I could manage to break away a bit, they were in hot pursuit. Marjot had wounded one of them pretty bad. I was trying to get away from the other and kept catching up to me. I was running in a circle around Marjot. She was trying to drop the thing. And eventually, she succeeded. We went inside the building, sure enough. The goods were there. So we reformed. Loaded up all the plasteel and gold we'd got. Decided to head on our way. We were thinking about going down to that abandoned city. The only downside was we were both injured now. And we had a ton of animals with us. Marjot had taken a few scratches. But I'd been all beat up. We got ourselves tended up before we took off properly. And got back to walking. Marjot healed up real fast. It took me a while. Bionics take some abuse when they're bit and scratched from these dirty foxes. When we got close to the city, I was still injured. We decided not to go in. Maybe we'd come back later, though. These abandoned cities, more stuff than you could imagine. Well, I was finally fully healed. We decided to stop by and do some trading. One of the villages, cities we were passing. Didn't really have anything we needed or wanted, though. We were going to settle right on the ocean, as Marjot had always dreamed. Somewhere with a river, too, would be nice, so we had some fresh water flowing by. Marjot came down with the flu and we started getting sick. Which is unfortunate, considering we were in the desert and it was just us two. She must have got it from that city we'd visited. And we finally arrived. Marjot was still a little down and out. It was a nice big open area. You could hear the ocean lapping at the beach. We'd have plenty of room to do whatever we wanted. So we had to set up our bedrolls, get ourselves a place to lay down. We also needed to chop some wood so we could make a door and use this old structure that was laying over here. Seemed like it was in pretty good repair, so we were going to go for it. We had our turrets still. Should be able to keep ourselves somewhat safe with those. We needed to get everything put inside. We could protect it from the elements and from the animals. We ended up having to build a small little section, additional storage. And after a better part of a day, we got everything pulled in. Some cargo pods fell down around that time. It was neutroamine. Turns out you use that for making medicine or something. I was sleeping. Marjot was having a beer. She decided to play some horseshoes. We had our guns set up. All of her stuff was safe. She wanted to wear that marine helmet, but we decided that was a bad idea, since we were going to need those later on. Things got hot and heavy. Now, hopefully we could get everything taken care of here before more of those aliens showed up. And we slept despite the mess in the place. We needed to get some power online as well. It was a little chilly. And we're sick of being in the dark. For that, I was going to have to do a bunch of mining. I was using the telescope. Feeling alright. It was cool to look at the sky, though you couldn't really see much, being that it was daytime. So we hauled stuff around. Marjot had to work with all these animals we had. We would have slaughtered them straight away, but we didn't have any way to preserve them. There was a ton of them, though. I got to the business, doing a bunch of mining. That was going to be the next priority, outside of just trying to stay happy over here. Marjot was playing horseshoes. We had the guns set up in what seemed like a sensible array. We even brought our mortar. Turns out our bed was lost somewhere along the way. We were both disappointed in that fact. It'd been such a nice big cozy bed. Turns out these new guns we had built didn't require any power. I don't know if they had little solar panels on them or what, but we weren't going to complain too much. We were going to need a ton of blocks, so Marjot built a rock cutting table so she could make us something usable. We got notified of a bandit camp quest nearby, but we had our hands full trying to get established. There was all kinds of stuff going on nearby. I don't know how people found us so fast. Hopefully the aliens, robots don't find us. Marjot was still working with the animals. I was finally getting our generator online. These are busy days. Marjot was making blocks as fast as she could. She was dreaming of a huge, nice house like you used to see in the movies, right on the beach. So we were going to start with a simple bedroom. I was tossing horseshoes next to a bucket of milk. Animals swarming around me. We actually started working on our bedroom. Then we both hit the hay. She was a little crabby. She wanted to snuggle up. She developed an immunity to her flu, though, so at least she wasn't too sick anymore. And we got to the business of making that bedroom. She got up before me, got to work. I slept in. All that mining wears a guy out. The fruit drinks were extremely useful. Somebody contacted us saying there was crazy warheads nearby. Asked if we wanted them. The answer is yes, but we didn't really have the means to go grab them right now. More cargo pods came down, some kind of leather. We both had the sneaky suspicion it was human leather, but we didn't want to think about that too much. Maybe someone's trying to send us a message by sending those things over. There was a solar flare on. We just kept right on working till it was bedtime at about 11 p.m. The place was a mess. It was hard to sleep in here. You could barely walk around. But we'd get there. The animals were out. I took a walk the next day, checking out the beach, surrounding area. Marjot worked on that bedroom. Kept right on dealing with the animals as well. Someone came crashing down out of the sky nearby. She was in pretty bad shape. Not too old. We decided we couldn't just leave her there. We'd have to do something for her. So I ran on over and rescued her. Marjot, the whole time, working on that bedroom. I got Pie tended. She was having a hard time speaking. Couldn't really do anything for herself. That looked like she'd pull through okay. There were all kinds of structures nearby we were going to take apart, see if we could claim some material out of them. We were running out of blocks. Marjot been constructing too much, not making more. I hit the hay just before midnight. Marjot came in and did some cleaning, and she went down as well. Person I'd rescue is recovering nicely. She did get an infection, given that we put her in a rather dirty place, but that was all we had at the minute. Better than being dead. I was working on the bedroom. Marjot was throwing horseshoes till it was time for me to come have a meal. Feed Pie as well. After that, I finished up the last of the bedroom, and it did look nice despite being a bit messy. Marjot kept right on making blocks. I was running around deconstructing anything and everything I could find that we could get something usable out of. We had a mortar, but our mortar shell seemed to have been lost somewhere along the way as well. Next up, we needed a lamp in our new bedroom. So I went and built one. And hoping the next few days here we can get moved over there. Kind of far away from where we wanted to eat and stuff, but we'll see what happens. Marjot was making more blocks. I laid out a bedroom. We had all that gold. I was going to build her a big fancy royal bed. We moved our end table in there as well. It was wood, but it was super nice. I couldn't complain too much. So I was hauling supplies over, make that bed. Decided to have a beer. Seemed like a good idea. Marjot was using the telescope. Man, these animals were swarming around like nobody's business. And Marjot got to the business of making more blocks. I was working on the bed. Turned out it was going to be a pretty significant amount of work. The people showed up about that time. Not sure how they found us, being that we'd barely been here. We bought some beans off them. Sold them a bunch of stuff we didn't need or want. Bought some steel as well. Even bought all the beer they had on them. So ours wasn't going to last forever. And I kept right on working on that bed. It certainly was more work than I thought it was going to be before I started. Marjot was still making blocks, which we were going to need to get some kind of security perimeter going. We were lucky to have made it this long, and we were just going to keep seeing if we could hang on. Between the guns, our bionic nature, we hoped we'd be okay. We had visitors show up again, just to say hi apparently. Marjot came over to talk to them. Turns out they had some stuff they wanted to trade. Nothing we really cared to have, though. There was an herbal medicine, which is a bit overpriced in my opinion, but Marjot bought it anyway. Certainly wouldn't hurt to have some extra meds around. Pie got up and took off about that time. She was happy to have been rescued and saved, and it made us feel good to send someone on their way healthy. Not sure how she's gonna make it if she runs into them aliens, but that's kind of her problem now. Marjot was working with all the animals, which at some point, once again, we're gonna have to get rid of. If we visited that city, though, we'd probably be able to use them, so we'll have to see what we can find. I kept right on working on that bed. We had to set our bed rolls back up since it took forever to build one of these things. But it was fancy. I went to bed feeling good. Haven't had a fruit drink. We started planning a perimeter wall. We wanted to be able to see the beach from our bed, but we also didn't want to end up dead, so we were going to have to figure something out. Marjot was having a beer. I was working on the bed. The day was dragging on. It was going to be about 6 o'clock. Marjot went to bed. I kept working. Man, I'd been working all bloody day on this. It was 3 a.m. I was pretty crabby, so I finally stopped, had a meal, went to sleep. Marjot was working on the perimeter wall, still dealing with the animals as well. And I got back to the business, working on that bed as soon as I could. It was the afternoon of the next day. Marjot was going to build us a dresser. She thought that'd be a good play, and I certainly couldn't argue with that. She built a rather good one, I must say. And she started working on the bed as well. She didn't do too much though. She knew it was something I wanted to do for her. So I got back to it, feeling good in most every way. Worked like a dog until the late hours of the night, and I finally got it done. So with that, we decided we were going to move into our new bedroom. And ripped up our bedrolls. Right as we were going to lay down, we got some weird noises down to the south. Some kind of crazy aliens popped up right out of the water. Started attacking some pigs that were nearby. So we had gotten down there quick. Started shooting the bastard. We killed the pig it was carrying, then it came at us. The other one was attacking the pig. So we snuck up on it as best we could. Started shooting the crap out of it. And it was coming for us. Marjot dropped it with a charge rifle. And we had to get on over then to see what we could do about collapsing that weird hole that had popped up. Despite the fact that it was in the water, we had to do something about it. So we shot at the crap. Seemed like the only option, and it worked. Finally, we were off the bed. And the bed was comfortable. The bedroom was real nice. We had a great night's sleep, despite the chaos of that battle. When we got up, it was time to work on the perimeter wall. Marjot slept in. She was really enjoying the bedroom. We needed walls, we needed traps, we needed steel. Our power cable went haywire then and started a fire, but it didn't get out of hand, fortunately. Marjot was still working with the alpaca, trying to keep those things doing the right thing. I was working on doors and traps. Decided to sit down and have myself a beer. Seemed like a good idea. And Marjot still had the job of making as many blocks as she possibly could before we were both off to bed for the night. Marjot was a little crabby at how nice the bedroom was. Not crabby enough to get a little frisky that night. She said she liked to keep things simple. We were kind of in a catch-22 here. And she seemed happy the next day. And we planned out a big house, just like you see in the movies. We didn't have much use for a garage, but we did build a big storage area, somewhere we could work as well. That had to act like a garage for us. She was about as happy as could be. We even planned on paths to get over there, in and out of the place. We hit the hay about midnight. Both a little crabby, but not too bad. And we still had a huge perimeter wall. That was going to be our focus. Then we'd build out and make the house. Chunks of spacecraft fell nearby. And we didn't need those right now. We had tons of components. I was taking a walk on the beach about 9 a.m. And this was a nice place. And this house was going to be super great when it was done. We had a space to build a ship. She let me know about how much room that would take. She was playing horseshoes, dreaming of getting this house done. We had our work cut out for us, that's for sure. And she kept making blocks. We hauled all of our stuff inside, so we had our security zone set up, although our outside walls weren't finished yet. They were getting there. We were going to build a door near the back where our bedroom was. Some guy showed up, heard we were building a huge fancy house, decided he wanted to join us. And we waved him off, and he left. We were a little worried about the fact that we might have killed the guy, but we didn't ask him to come here. While we were sleeping that night, a bunch of pirates landed nearby. 3 different groups of them. That doesn't bode well for us. If the pirates have found us, and the aliens have found us, turns out we can't hide anymore. Which is a little frustrating, seeing as we moved so far to get away from all this kind of trouble. As well as to be by the beach, I guess. So we grabbed our guns, ran on outside, and got ready for them. They were all just milling around everywhere, though. None of them were coming to try and kill us yet. They were making some kind of plan, I'm sure. We'd shoot our animals inside, and they were sleeping, so they wouldn't eat too many of our meals. So we took the guns, went to the smallest group that was nearby. We could probably take them out without needing our turrets. Plus, they all had hand-to-hand weapons. So we went over, started giving them the business. And we dropped 2 of them. The third one decided time to get the heck on out of there. The other 2 groups of pirates still just milling about, not doing much of anything as best as we could tell. We ran back over by our guns, see what the heck was going on, and decided we'd have to go get the bastards ourselves. So we ran over and started shooting once again. One of them was coming at us. He had a gun too. Shot me, the bastard. With that, we decided to go back. And they all chased. All the groups were coming at us, it seemed like. They must have heard the gunshots. The water sure did slow us down, but it would slow them down too. We decided to stop, see if we could give some of them the business while they were crossing the water. Didn't seem like it was worth getting killed over though, especially when our turrets could do a fair job. There sure were a lot of them. We were both a little nervous. Our turret started firing. Damn near got a hold of us. Unfortunately, it didn't. So, when they got into the turrets, they decided it would be better to keep coming after us and not destroy the turrets, which was fortunate. Some of them started fleeing. One of them got a hold of me before the turrets dropped her. And with that, they were all running away. Marjot stayed. She was mad as hell, had a battle lust on her. I decided to join her, see if we could drop that fool, and we did. There was all kinds of dead people around, and they dropped all kinds of stuff. We were going to have to do something with these schmucks. Most of what they had we didn't want. One of them, in there by our bedroom, we decided to cut him off around the perimeter wall, see if we could drop him. less of them that get back, more of them that die. Maybe the less they'll come for us next time. So with that, we decided to have ourselves a meal. Despite that nasty dead body nearby, we were just going to build a bunch of graves around, put these people in the ground. After that, I went to bed. Marjot was going to have to come tend me, but the medicine was nowhere nearby, so we were going to have to fix that situation. But she got me taken care of, and she hit the hay as well. I wasn't too badly beat up. Bionics make a big difference, man. And with that, it was time to call it. We were sleeping, the animals were safe, the pirates were dead or fled. Things were good. We were looking forward to our new house. Happy life here before we left the planet.